What's up, everybody? I'm going to show you a demonstration of a mix I did for a UK artist. I'll post a link to his SoundClick page. But this is the original song that he sent me. I'll play a little bit of this and the verse and skip to the chorus.
It just feels like a knife in my chest. Every time I spit, it seems like I just need some rest. With every line, it's like I'm guessing a five.
Alright, chorus.
People love us, people hate us, people don't know us. 'Cause I'm back to the ball and I'm back to the same. I'm blowing out my brain. 'Cause it's back to the thoughts every day. I just fall some.
Alright, and this is what I did to his song.
It just feels like a knife in my chest. Every time I spit, it seems like I just need some rest. With every line, it's like I'm destined to fight. With everything I have right, I keep on speaking my mind. Either lose or win, I'm pulling deeper inside. I won't do proceed,
Skip to the chorus.
people don't know us, 'cause I'm back to the wall and I'm back to the same. I'm going out my brain, 'cause it's back to the thoughts every day. I just fall some things, they never change. 'Cause I'm back.
So let's start with the kick. So after I did my little magic with the cutting and pasting of stuff here, the first thing I did, solo this up and take these off for a second. My kick kind of sounded, he has two different kicks. He has multiple layer instruments, but only a single track for his vocal for the verse, and a single layer for the chorus as well. This kick sounded like, I don't know, it just didn't sound as full to me, so I ran it through a compressor first. You can have a different setting if, you know, whatever is to your taste or whatever fits your song. And it also depends on the order you put things in, but it sounded better running this through a compressor first than an EQ. And then I use this, that's Focusrite, by the way, their D3 compressor plugin. Then I ran it through this Pultec little EQ. Oops, sorry about that. It added a lot more chunkiness to it. Like I really boosted the low end at 60. Like you can change the frequencies around here. That sounds kind of boxy to me. There's really nothing in that sonic range right there for this kick. But 60 really had a little fatness to it and helped this the kick kind of really punch through the mix because there's a lot of stuff going on in here. I also did some side chaining. I'll probably explain that in a little bit. Add a little bit of attenuation. So I have this EQ right here to kind of show you what I'm talking about. Attenuation, in case you don't know, it's basically cutting frequencies, dipping them down a little bit to make room for the main one that you're trying to focus on. So as you can see, I'm not, let's pretend this is the low end. I have the same setting right here. So I'm boosting at 60. So that's what this is. At 60, I'm boosting 7 dB. So this is 7 dB roughly on this plugin itself. And a little bit before that, I have it at 60 actually. So if I want to make this exactly well, okay, let's just pretend it's the same frequencies and stuff. But attenuation, so basically, as I'm boosting one, oops, wrong frequency. As I'm boosting one, I'm cutting frequencies that, you know, come after or before. So that's why you see this little line. It kind of goes up and then down, just dipping down. So this is the frequency I'm boosting right here. And it's kind of tucking this one down. So what I'm doing is basically making more room in this low end because I have a lot of low end instruments coming on. I have basses and strings and just multiple things. So you want to make room for each instrument and don't want anything clashing. There's a second kick, which is kind of like his 808 kick, but it sounded really. I'll just play it. There you go. It sounded hollow and boxy to me. I'll play it with the kick. like I don't know, it didn't have that little, not an 808, but it didn't have that low end that you would feel in your chest when you're like sitting in the car in the club. Like those aren't the frequencies you necessarily hear, but you feel them. So what I had to do to kind of make room for that is once again cut some frequencies out. So I use this high pass filter and up to 50 hertz. I cut because anything below 40 you don't really hear, you just feel. So after I did that, play it. Now it has a little kickback. See, it sounded thin. This one sounds all nice and chunky. And I boosted a little bit of the high to kind of give some little snap to the kick. Not a rattle, but like you can hear a little bit of that high end coming back into it. Alright, so the clap didn't really add a lot to the EQ. I cut a lot of frequencies. I like cutting frequencies more before I really start boosting anything, just to make room. I cut a lot around the little mid-range around here to make room for vocals and other stringed instruments, because you know this clap doesn't have that much low end anyway. The snare, I added a lot. See, as I'm cutting one, let's see. So this is the snare on the bottom. This is the clap on the top there. So as I'm cutting frequencies, this is kind of making room for this little snare here. You know, cutting frequencies from here, boosting them up over here. So it's just kind of, you're mixing, you're blending sounds, you're blending frequencies and making sure everything fits comfortably together. So I have a third clap, which is like this rhythm clap, take it off with it. Sounds cool, but it just sounds like everything is in the middle. You know, I need room for my vocals as well. I have automation going on with the volume too, because you want movement in your mix. But anyway, to kind of make room for that, I added this delay to it with it bypass, with it on. It's a quick way to kind of thicken up a mix is to add a delay to it. You can add reverb, there's other little tricks, but I just made room with the stereo image, little horn thing going on there. Now with no EQ, yeah, all that low end's gone, right? A little bit of mids in there, but a lot of little high frequencies cut back into it. I am cutting out some low mid frequencies, once again making more room for stuff, and I'm really boosting the low end on this thing. So the high end's kind of giving it back that little crisp sound you get from a real horn, you know, and really boosting that low to give it some bottom end. But as you can see, I'm not boosting at the same frequency. This is at 70, and my kick, remember, is like around 60. So you're, once again, you're just trying to make room for frequencies here and balancing your mix. On top of all that, I added this Renaissance bass, which really gave me a lot more bass back in that instrument. This is without it. This is with it. And this is at 87 little hertz, little frequency there. I'm adding this Renaissance bass. Be careful with this plugin because it is a really powerful plugin, and if you're not knowing what you're doing, you can be like killing your mix with way too much bass. It doesn't need to be bass heavy. That's why people have EQs built into their cars and stuff. You know, you can, what you're aiming for is it to sound good on as many monitoring systems as you can. So these actually have a lot of processing going on. So I added a doubler. It's detuned a little bit. Needed more high end, so I added this virtual exciter. There's a whole bunch of different other kind of exciters out there, millions of different kind of brands out there. I'd prefer analog gear, but this one I did in the box. Alright, so Once again, I widened the image just a little bit, boosted like 1.31 in the width, just very subtle widening. Look, you can go really crazy with it. Let's just switch this to a different setup. Like that's as wide as it goes and completely mono stereo. Also has this mid-side function on it, which is pretty cool. Let's see. Next we have, what is this?